pharma, textiles could be under pressure because 20 to 25% tariffs is something that Trump is now talking about. And there's been a huge movement as well after Novo Nordisk, which is a leading global pharma company. Its stock plunged 23% in a single day in the US markets on the back of sluggish demand for the anti-obesity drug. It's actually more than sluggish demand. Varsha, joining us for more on this. Varsha, is the reason sluggish demand or is the reason rising competition? Because this has become such a craze that there's pretty much every major pharma company coming out with an anti-obesity drug.
Yes, exactly. And as you rightly pointed out, this is because of the rising competition, and that's the reason why, Novo Nordisk has cut their guidance. Even, talking about the stock performance, it fell almost 42% this year. Even Eli Lilly's, which is a competitor of Novo Nordisk, shares dropped 5% in the US. Now, let's see what are the challenges and how much guidance cut has been done by Novo Nordisk. So they've reduced their 2025 sales growth forecast to 8 to 14% from 13 to 21% earlier guided, and the operating profit growth guidance have also been reduced to 10 to 16% from 16 to 24% earlier guided. Now let's see what is the reason for this lower outlook. If you see, the weaker US sales growth is one of the reasons why they've cut the guidance. So they're expecting a slower growth when it comes to Wegovy and Ozempic sales. Wegovy is used for weight loss and Ozempic is a drug used for diabetes. And the specific reasons, if I were to talk about, so what they're saying is there's a use of cheaper versions of GLP-1 in the US, and slower than expected market expansion of this drug is one of the reasons why they've cut their guidance. And also they are experiencing increased competition from rivals like Eli Lilly. Let's see how this is going to impact Indian pharma companies. So this is positive for generic companies like Sun Pharma, Glenmark, Biocon. Even every generic pharma company is into GLP-1, and these issues are mainly confined to US market, not necessarily global. Divi's lab, if I were to talk about, is unlikely to be affected as it may not supply their API to Novo. Natco Pharma and OneSource will benefit from the semaglutide generics in the US post 2032. So because of the competition scenarios, Novo Nordisk has cut their guidance, and that's the reason yesterday, if you see, the stock was down almost 23% in a day.
Okay, thank you for that, Varsha. Let me just get a quick view from Vishal on this. Vishal Manchanda, Senior VP Institutional Research at Systematics, joining in. I think one of the foremost pharma analysts. I'm just wondering if this is a knockdown effect on Indian pharma companies, and in which way, Vishal? How do you see it panning out?
Yeah, so I think this may not have implications for the Indian companies. So broadly, we have two avenues. If we look at the Indian companies, there are two growth avenues on the GLP front. One is India market, another is Canada market also opening up next year. So I think both these markets are unlikely to be impacted because of this lowered guidance. So this lowered guidance essentially reflects probably the challenges around reimbursement of obesity drugs, and obviously there is also competition from Eli Lilly's tirzepatide that's impacting semaglutide. So I think once generic drugs are there on the market, as far as Canada is concerned, this would improve affordability and hence probably help adoption. But we'll also need to be conscious about there are emerging side effects around these GLP-1. So there are some side effects being talked about on semaglutide, and we'll need to be aware about how these developments pan out over the next 1 year.
Vishal, just quickly checking, companies like Biocon, Dr. Reddy's, which might have some engagements with Novo Nordisk rivals or competitors, you don't think they stand to benefit? Because the key reason that apparently Novo Nordisk is citing is increased competition, which means that competition must also be getting some of the sales.
Yes, so I think right now there is only one player on the market that's benefiting. It's Eli Lilly, which their drug is tirzepatide. So that's benefiting, and probably what the market perceives is Divi's is probably going to supply the API of tirzepatide to Eli Lilly. So one one implication of this story is if tirzepatide is doing well, then probably DVs might also do well because of the supplies of the API to Eli Lilly. So that's one angle to this story.
Huh.
And I think the India market is still virgin. There is no
Agreed.
penetration of GLP-1s.
Agreed.
So we'll still see the market becoming large once drugs reach the
And
market.
therefore, Vishal, just to round it off, you're saying that if at all there is an implication for divis, which is also presumption that there might be supplying and therefore, but the likes of
that's a
Reddy's and
presumption.
Biocon, etc., do not have any implication of this particular piece as of now.
No immediate implications on these companies.
Okay. Point well noted.
I have just one very quick question, Vishal, before we let you go. If tariffs come in at 20 to 25% for India, is that a clear negative for Indian pharma companies, and which ones?
So I think we'll have to wait and see how the details, the fine print around these tariffs, and probably I'll be able to comment once I go through the details around that.
Fair enough. Directionally, though, it would definitely not be positive if it also extends to pharmaceuticals. But thank you for that, Vishal Manchanda. There will, of course, everyone, the whole world is waiting for those details.